The conclusion for this is the very last sentence, right? It's a super long sentence. But the conclusion is basically trying to explain the land party's success, right? They address the concerns of these groups, and the depth of the economic problems in these groups were facing was very severe. So this is trying to explain why this party was so successful, or not so successful, but successful this one time, right? So each of the following is true strengthens the historian's argument except. We are looking for an answer choice that does what?
Does nothing.
Does not strengthen, which means it either weakens or does nothing. Here's irrelevant, right? So if they said Santa likes red shoes, you'd say correct. That's irrelevant. Okay, answer choice A. In preceding elections, the Land Party made no attempt to address the interests of economically distressed urban groups. As I started to read this, I thought this would strengthen the argument, because if they had never addressed these issues before, and then they did, and they won, this seems to explain or support the idea that that was the key to their success. But there's one word in here that I had to do a double take on, because at first I thought it was legit, and then it wasn't. Camilla?
Is it urban groups?
It's urban groups. The fact that they've never reached out to urban groups is totally irrelevant, because this is all about reaching out to rural or semi-rural areas. Right? So then I was like, oh, actually this is the answer, because we don't care about their failure to reach out to urban groups. Answer choice B. Voters are more likely to vote for a political party that focuses on their problems. That definitely strengthens this argument, right? Ties in. How about answer choice C? Why does this strengthen the argument? The Land Party had most of its success when there was economic distress in the agricultural sector. That ties into these groups again, right? Answer choice D. Why does this strengthen the argument? No other group has addressed these issues. Yeah.
Because it showed that the Land Party tapped into like a novel constituent base, so obviously they would win because they had this idea.
Yeah, we're trying to explain that this was the reason for their success, and if every other party or even just one other party was trying to do this as well and they lost, then that couldn't be an explanation for why they won, right? Excellent. So E, any guess why this is correct? What part of the passage taps into answer choice E? Yeah.
There were economic woes in the semi-rural and rural areas, and that would create more. That would get the citizens to vote more. So
hold on. So if they have economic woes, other places could have economic woes as well, right? Saying that some group has economic woes does not prevent other places from having economic woes.
But it inclines them to vote more.
Yes, but then it would incline everyone to vote.
Yeah, but they targeted these people.
They targeted these people, but other people could have targeted other people. Yes, Matt.
The reason why I took this one out was because in the conclusion it says, and the depth of the economic problems people in these groups are facing. So I kind of related it back to that part of the conclusion.
Sure. Now, here's the thing, though. The conclusion is what's up for debate. I think the key part here is right where it says economic woes, right? Camilla, that's where you started quoting. It says the economic woes of the years surrounding the election hit the agricultural and small business interests the hardest. If it hit them the hardest, then other places weren't hit as hard, and therefore these people were more likely to vote. If it didn't say the hardest, then the fact that the greater the degree of economic distress someone is in, the more likely that person is to vote, we have no idea whether other people would have been more likely to vote or not. But answer choice E taps into that, and thus this all sort of starts to make sense. Oh, so those people ended up voting more. What answers were we most tempted by? C. The Land Party had most of its success when there was economic distress in the agricultural sector.
Because he was arguing with respect to the specific election.
Yeah.
And this is a statement of fact, right? Like, you can link it to that election because you did mention that.
You can link it to that election because if the Land Party had most of its success in this time, it must have been in this year when they won. If this is the
it could
only
be
year
by,
that
like,
they
local
won.
elections, it could, you know, like, it just could be a very generic, like.
How would you
across the board
define
statement.
success?
Well, I was thinking like it's like relatively like A is wrong because it says discussed urban groups and that's not relevant, but C is like it's not necessarily like true for this specific conclusion the historian is making. So I don't know, it just like caught me like a little bit. I was like,
I'm not sure why you don't think it applies. Because I think if this is the only year that they won, the Land Party had most of its successes when there was economic distress in the agriculture sector. This seems like that would be one of those years.
well, I was thinking like local elections or special elections, like any
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know like exactly if
Here's one thing,
that's the
though.
only
This gets back to your
Facts that they
your
were.
relative point. This answer choice does strengthen it some, right? Like there
Yeah,
is
exactly.
some connection here, whereas A is there's none.
right.
Yeah, cool. So maybe it's not a great strengthener, but it does more. It does something. All right. Any other questions on this one? Okay. Yes.
I think it was just the plurality of success that kind of threw me off. Just
Oh, for answer choice C.
what I perceived, I didn't pick it, but it just threw me off because like the first instance, it's only national victory. And I guess like success is meant by maybe the previous successes.
Yeah. So you could have. Yeah, it's their only national victory. This is what Taryn's saying. Like there could be other local victories, right? Success. I would presume that this year was successful.
The more I read into it, I got that, put those together.
Yeah. So in A, did you miss the urban?
No, I got that stood out to me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right.